Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Katie Morgan and I help professional women break free of paralysing anxiety, self-doubt and imposter syndrome so they can reach their full potential at work and in their careers. And today I want to talk about why journaling is such an effective stress management strategy that I would highly recommend you all try. So I'm going to talk you through just the basics of why it works and a system of how to do it. And yeah, I'd love your feedback. Comment below if you found this effective for you. But yeah, I'll dive in. So there are lots of studies out there on why journaling is effective, proving that it can help with actual health issues as well as the management of feeling stressed. So you can do this daily, you can do this twice daily, you can do this weekly, or you can do this on an as needed basis, which is what I prefer to use. I used to do it daily, but now I just find that when I feel really overwhelmed and anxious, this is a really good method to go to. It's really important that you actually work through your feelings. And what I mean by this is writing down how you're feeling, not just what's going on in your life and what's causing you the stress, but actually how you're feeling as well. As human beings, we actually have a tendency to obsess with something. So for example, you are at work and someone says something or your boss says something and you go home and you're thinking it over and over and over. This is called ruminating. And what can happen is if you don't let go of these feelings, they can build up and cause more anxiety and more stress, which is absolutely what we don't want. So the process of journaling is a little bit like self-examination. So during this, you're actually able to let go of the feelings and shift to a place where you feel more empowered and action orientated. So depending on the levels of anxiety that you have, I'd recommend 10 to 15 minutes per day. I definitely think you should make it manageable, and I definitely think that you should try and get it into some sort of regular schedule. Whether that's first thing, whether that's last thing, you want to do what's right for you. Also choose where you do it. You can do it on a computer. You can buy yourself a really nice journal that's just specifically for this. You can use a bullet journal, which is what I use. I will do another video on bullet journaling because I absolutely love it. Or you can just do it on pen and paper. I really find it cathartic to write it down onto like handwritten, but if you want to use computer or you want to use your notes on your phone, then whatever works best for you. So now I'm going to talk you through my 8 steps to getting started. So first of all, you want to write all your worries down. Just get everything out of your head and onto paper. Do it in a sequential order so that, one thing onto the next. And the aim is to just get everything out of your head and onto paper and everything that bothers you. At this stage, don't overthink things. Just get it onto paper and get it out of your head. Number 2 is think about the moments. It's a really good idea to differentiate between what is actually happening and what is difficult right now in the moment and what we think is going to happen in the future. Stress is more often than not our worries about what potentially could happen, not what is actually happening right now. So this realization in itself could actually bring a bit of relief in and of itself, and it can also help you when you write these things down to just give it some perspective. Number 3 is to list all your fears. So get really clear on what your fears are and what could happen. And then once you have all your thoughts in order, you can find ways to relieve the pressure. Number 4 is to reframe things. So it's important to review and reflect on what you've written and ask yourself questions like, could things be different? Can you reframe this in a more positive way? Are there any positive outcomes that you can see? Number 5 is to challenge your thinking. Get critical, think critically about your fears. Try to argue with yourself. Is there anything that might call into question whether this could really happen? How likely is it to happen? How do you know that? Are you sure? You really want to approach your own fears as if they were someone else's, and if you were giving the advice to someone else. Maybe quite often we overthink things and that causes us stress, when really there's multiple different outcomes, and challenging your thinking and reframing your thinking can really give you a lot of relief. You know, think about whether, if your fear does happen, is there a chance that it won't be as bad as you think? Could it be positive or just neutral? Could the outcome be just neutral? Is there any way that you could use the outcome to benefit you? You know, again, just thinking questions that are just going to challenge the belief that you have, or the fear that you have around what you're writing down or what's in your head. This can help you just see things differently, see things from another perspective. You know, things are quite often not as bad as we think. So this, getting it down on paper, and this is why journaling is so powerful. The process of getting it down on paper like gives you the chance and the opportunity to challenge your thinking. You know, it's possible here to rewrite your own story, find new possibilities, which is a huge part of releasing the anxiety that we have like pent up within us. Number 6 is to focus on how you can grow. It's often helpful to remember a time when you've overcome a challenge. Remembering your strongest, wisest times can remind you that you're capable of overcoming anything that life throws at you. And humans by nature are growth orientated. So focusing on how you can learn, focusing on how you can grow from overcoming these challenges can help you reframe it. And by nature, humans intrinsically feel better when they're in growth mode and an empowered mode. Number 7 is to plan for the worst, but caveat it with hope for the best. You know, think about the future and make a bit of a plan. If the outcome were to happen, what steps could you take? What actions could you take? Who could you contact? If you've got a bit of a game plan, if the worst case does happen, that can actually take away the fear of the unknown, which again is a massive part of why we feel anxious. So, you know, have something vague in mind if the worst case were to happen. But like I said, hope for the best, but plan for the worst. And number 8 is to take action. You know, come up with a minimum of one thing, if not more, that you could do towards alleviating your worries or alleviating the particular fear that you have. You know, what resources could you pull on? Could you contact an old friend to introduce you to someone? You know, could you put in a stress relieving routine? Do you need to, you know, make sure you go out every lunchtime for some fresh air at work, or, you know, whatever it might be? But putting your energy into the things that you can do can not only just take your mind off things, but also make you feel empowered and you're moving forward. So, you know, rather than being paralyzed by the fear and losing momentum and motivation, you've got actionable steps that you can take. So that is my 8 tips onto how you can use journaling to help manage your stress relief. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time.